Boost your immune system. What will you learn today? So why do you need to have balanced immune system? What are the types of immunity and what are the building blocks that help to support the immune system? What are the natural immune boosters in the food? So what is the immune system? It's a self-defense system in the blood and the lymph that responds to danger and damage. So these white blood cells, the police of the body, they protect us against the invaders. They adapt and respond accordingly. They clear the damage, the tissue that was attacked, and they create tolerance. And this is very important to recognize what is self, what are our own cells, and what is non-self, what are the invaders. So in case this tolerance is not optimal, it can cause autoimmune disease. Cells are also responsible for recognizing and destroying malfunctioning cells. So in case there was any mutation in the cell, they will recognize this and they will create apoptosis, which is a cellular death. So we are exposed in this microbiological environment to many bacteria, and some of them are commensal, they live with us and they're actually helping us, and some of them is pathogenic. And there's many new viruses and bacteria, and we need to constantly adapt to this environment. So we have three different ways of how we protect ourselves. So we have a barrier defense, we have an innate immunity, so the one that we are born with, and then we have the adaptive immunity, when we already learned about the virus and we know how to destroy it in a faster and more controlled way. And we also have organs like kidneys, liver, and spleen that are filtering out the killed, dead waste products. So the physical and chemical barrier, it all starts with the mucus. You know that we have mucus in the nose, mucus in the vagina, and even in the 9 meters of our gut. And this mucus has immunoglobulins that actually trap the invaders. So that's why we need to have sufficient amount of mucus, not too much and not too little. Balance is the key. Then skin, the largest organ, has actually many layers. So it has dermis, epidermis, and on the top of that, there is a slight layer. It's called sebum, and it's these fatty acids that are protecting the skin and also the microflora, because we have bacteria there that are also protecting us. So if we are using chemical products and we are striping the sebum away, we might create dry skin with a micro holes, and then these bacteria, some pathogenic bacteria, can enter into the bloodstream and create inflammation, which means spiking the immune system. We also have in our lungs small cilia. It's like projections, and they are sweeping away all the toxins and free radicals and everything that we inhale throughout the day. So for example, smokers, they burn this cilia with all the puffs that they take, and then they cannot sweep away the bacteria. They very often have this dry cough. Gut. So you maybe remember from previous videos or sessions that we had that 70% of the immune system is actually lying in the gut, because when we eat, everything that we ingest is potentially with bacteria and viruses. So just in case they would want to penetrate through the gut wall, the immune system can trap them and destroy them. And we also have the mucus barrier. And tears, they're antibacterial as well. You know, when you have a fly in your eye, your eye immediately starts to create the liquid to flush it all away. And so does urine and sweat. So what is the innate immunity? So you are born with it, and it's this first line of defense. That's actually the white blood cells that don't know what they do. They have never been to any training center. So the majority of them, if you, for example, look at your blood tests, so they are called leukocytes, and roughly around 60 to 70% of them are neutrophils. So it's this kamikaze. They go, they live only for short, they sacrifice themselves to save you. And then we have like other chemicals that are released during this first line of defense, and it's, for example, histamine. So you know that histamine is causing this vasodilation. It actually dilutes and opens the blood vessels so that all the water can come, and it's causing swelling. So if somebody has histamine intolerance or they have allergies, their throat can start swallowing, and so does all the parts of the body. But our body is smart. It's doing all of this not to hurt us, but to allow for the repair. So, for example, even the pain and fatigue is to tell you, please, we have a problem. Here is a virus or bacteria. We need you to lie down and relax and let us do what we are supposed to do. And so we have like other specialized leukocytes like eosinophils, that when they are increased, it's showing you the allergic reactions, or the parasites. And here you can see on this beautiful picture, it's a white blood cell that is actually spreading and spraying all the histamine and free radicals. So where are these leukocytes, these white blood cells? So they are in the thymus, that is an organ on the top part of your chest where the Tarzan was hitting himself, and in the bone marrow. So it's in the bone. So the T cells are in thymus and B cells are in bone marrow. Very easy to remember. We said that we have these neutrophils that are short-lived, and they sacrifice themselves because they are like tearing their own protein from the body to create these lysozymes and defensins and kill. Then we have macrophages, these big eaters. So what they do, they eat and eat and eat. And when they are very big, they either create pus. So you know, when you have a spot and the macrophages, these white blood cells were repairing, you have all the pus inside these dead white blood cells, the debris. And so macrophages are actually even involved in the cardiovascular disease, because when you have oxidized LDL, the bad cholesterol, macrophages are clearing the damage in the arteries, and they are creating foam cells, and these foam cells are then narrowing the arteries. Then we have lymphocytes, and they are traveling between the lymph and the blood and the lymphoid tissues. So we have three types of white blood cells. T cells, so this specialized, and they are helping us in the cellular repair. B cells, it's in fluid. So if you have infection or inflammation in the fluid, like in a blood, that will be B cells. And then we have natural killer cells that are searching for like billboards, these MHC, the markers, and then they recognize whether the cell is good, whether it's self or non-self. So all these, we want to have them trained well and behaving. So this is called adaptive immunity. So immunocompetence, the ability of the T cells and B cells to recognize billions of specific epitopes of antigens. So basically it's this billboard. So every time when your body meets a virus or bacteria or any parasite, it will kill it, and then it will take the samples, the pieces of it. This is called epitopes of antigens, and it's going to train the T cells and B cells to recognize these things. So these specialized cells that are trained, they are trained either in the thymus or in the bone marrow. And the training is so difficult that actually only 2% of them survive this drill. The 98% of them that did not learn all these billions of specific antigens, they die. Yeah, so it's a really hard training. So the microbes are killed, very easily when we have a good adaptive immunity, and then you don't even have the signs and symptoms. Yeah, you don't even know that you went through the disease. And this is basically the concept of vaccination. So you know that every year there is a flu, and the flu, like every virus, has mutations. That's why we need to get, or people get, older people get the vaccine every single year, so that the signs and symptoms are not as severe as it would be if they were to meet this virus for the first time. So if our body is fighting and protecting as well, even when we don't know about it, the lymphatic system has actually quite hard work as well to eliminate all the waste. And in this lymphatic system, we have small knots. You can actually see it on the picture. And sometimes when you are really sick, maybe you can feel when you touch your throat or you're touching your groins that these lymph nodes are swollen. So it means that some inflammation was going through and your immune system is working hard. So does for the spleen. So spleen is almost like a graveyard, all the dead trapped antigens. And that's why we need to filter it out properly as well. And then we have many signaling molecules like this histamine, and they are made out of protein and minerals. So when we are going to talk about the food, you will understand why we need to have sufficient amount of protein, especially if our immune system is not working well, and which minerals you need for a strong immune system. And so does antibodies. So antibodies, it's what your body creates to protect yourself against the parasites. And they are made from glycoprotein. So glyco, it's some sugar in it, which you can get from vegetable or anything. And protein, again, the amino acids and immunoglobulins. So antibodies, these immunoglobulins, these proteins, we have different ones in the body. And I want to educate you on this because you might sometimes see it in your blood test results and you want to know what the hell that means. So IgG immunoglobulin G is the most abundant in our body, so 80% of it. And it protects us, so it travels in the bloodstream and in the lymph, and it protects us against the bacteria and viruses. So it's basically neutralizing also the toxins. And it's the only one that can cross the placenta and protect the newborn. Then we have IgA. And IgA are in sweat, tears, mucus, and even colostrum, the first milk after the woman gives birth. All the immunoglobulins are decreased when you are under stress because cortisol suppresses the immune system. So IgM, they're like large snowflakes and they attach to the antigens and they slow them down so that the virus doesn't spread quickly all over the body. And then we have IgE. So maybe you heard about these ones. If you had like some sensitivity to some food or some food allergies, you went and they did the IgG. So they were basically testing the food, connecting it with your blood and seeing how it reacts. I have done it as well. I paid $300 because when I was suffering for 10 years with bloating and farting and like inflammation in my face and on my skin, I thought it must be some food. I didn't know that actually the problem was the leaky gut. So this IgE tests can be very false. It's going to show you that you are reacting to the food that you eat on a regular basis. So if you eat every single day oats, it's going to show you, and you have leaky gut, that the food got through the barrier, met the immune cells, and they created these antibodies, these immunoglobulins against the oats, against banana, against any food that you are eating. And then the test will show you that you, for example, don't react to, I don't know, seafood. Because if you don't eat any seafood and you have never eaten it, your body never got any sample out of it and therefore cannot have any antibodies. And therefore, I am reluctant to these IgE tests and I don't recommend them to my clients. And this is a beautiful picture how these immunoglobulins work. So they have a different shape. So for example, this has a Y shape, it's the IgG, the IgM, it has this snowflake shape, and they basically attach to the virus and block it. So what are the well-being strategies to boost the immune system? So you know that 70% of the doctor's visits is due to stress, and that's why we will also look at the stress management. Sleep is very important because during the sleep, you have a chance to repair. You give the body the chance to recognize which cells are having any mutation and kill them, and even to train the white blood cells. Regular exercise, because you are sweating and the sweat is removing the toxins. And then, of course, the food. Food, as a nutritionist, I will tell you a lot about this. So that's the digestion, the nutritional deficiency, dysbiosis, and inflammation. Are you ready?